In the hidden, not-so-nice part of Wichita, a place where secrets hide behind a mask of normal life, something really scary happened, and this frightening incident made everyone in the neighborhood feel scared and surprised. The mom of a student from Wichita State is now living a bad dream after the police discovered something really awful on a Saturday. Her daughter's body was found in the trunk of her boyfriend's car. After this really sad and shocking news, the police made an effort to find out what really happened, and their investigation led to a series of events that revealed more secrets and lies, showing how dangerous humans can be. Hello and welcome to Maya's reality channel, where we bring you compelling true crime stories. From unsolved mysteries to notorious criminals, we leave no stone unturned as we navigate the dark corridors of real-life crimes. So, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more. Now, let's get back to the story. It all began on the morning of August 26, 2023, when two distressing 911 calls initiated a chain of events that ultimately led to a profoundly unsettling discovery. The initial call was made by a concerned woman in Carolina, anxiously expressing her fear that her 22-year-old son, Alexander Lewis, might have caused harm to his 19-year-old girlfriend, Zaiylah Bronson, in Wichita, Kansas. Following this worrisome call, a second one came in, this time from Lewis himself, during which he shockingly confessed to strangling his girlfriend, Zaiylah. As law enforcement responded to the situation, they eventually located Lewis's vehicle. To their dismay, they found Zaiylah in an unconscious state. Despite their urgent efforts to revive her, she tragically remained lifeless, and the somber pronouncement of her death was made at the scene. The unfolding events paint a heart-wrenching picture of a hidden tragedy that came to light on that fateful day. The lingering and haunting question that hung heavy in the air was, why would Lewis do something like that to his own girlfriend? To truly unravel this mystery, we must delve into a deeper understanding of the situation, because the answer to this perplexing question holds the key to exposing a harsh truth, the dark reality of domestic violence that is intricately woven into the very fabric of our society. As we look at the events of this story, it takes us to Wichita, Kansas, a city that proudly holds the title of being the largest in the state and is also known as a vibrant hub for culture, commerce, and innovation, is often hailed as the air capital of the world. Wichita boasts a robust aviation industry, hosting major aircraft manufacturing companies that call it home. The city's charm extends to its numerous cafes, creating an inviting atmosphere for those seeking relaxation on a laid-back afternoon. However, like any place, Wichita has its own set of challenges. It faces extreme weather conditions, limited entertainment options, and the common woe of traffic congestion. Yet, amidst these issues, there is a more pressing concern. Wichita has unfortunately found itself among cities with some of the highest crime rates in the United States. The story takes a tragic turn as we learn about 19-year-old Zaiylah, who became a victim of these challenging circumstances. Her troubles didn't stem from the city at large, but rather unfolded within the confines of her own home. This heartbreaking story sheds light on the darker side of a city that, despite its vibrancy, grapples with significant issues. As we explore the highs and lows of Wichita, we are reminded that every community has its struggles, and understanding these challenges is essential to fostering positive change. Zaiylah Bronson came into the world as Stevie Tonneson Bronson's first child on September 13, 2003. At that time, her father Stevie was serving at the Fort Campbell military base on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. Just a year later, Zaiylah happily took on the role of the proud older sister when Sequeria, her little sister, joined their family. When Zaiylah turned 4, another blessing arrived, a younger brother named Xavier. After some time, the Bronson family moved to Kansas, while Zaiylah was still in elementary school. She continued her education at Lansing High School. Zaiylah wasn't your average student. She was truly exceptional. Her excellence shone through both in academics and athletics. During her time in high school, Zaiylah actively joined the track team and became a key member of the powerlifting team. Her success in these sports earned her numerous medals, showcasing her skills and dedication. Not just an athlete, Zaiylah was also an outstanding student, graduating a year ahead of her peers. In 2021, Zaiylah started her academic journey at Wichita State University, where she focused on studying mathematics. She lived independently in Wichita, while her parents and two younger siblings stayed about 3 hours away in Leavenworth. Despite the distance, Zaiylah kept a strong and loving connection with her family. She made a habit of reaching out to at least one family member every day, ensuring their close bond remained unbroken. Whenever she had 2 consecutive days off, she eagerly made the trip to visit her family, cherishing those precious moments together. Spending quality time with friends and family was undeniably one of her favorite things to do. Those fortunate enough to be close to Zaiylah would describe her as a vibrant and spirited young woman, filled with dreams, aspirations, and a heart full of love. Her generosity knew no bounds. She would willingly give her last penny to someone in need, always accompanied by a warm and welcoming smile. One of her most exceptional qualities was her extraordinary kindness, which left a lasting impact on those around her. Among those who held nothing but admiration and affection for Zaiylah was her godmother, Don Wilson. Their connection, formed while working alongside Zaiyllah's father at a prison, she spoke volumes about the kind of person Zaiylah was. Don Wilson expressed that Zaiyllah's voice, her smile, her happiness, her joy, and her pure love were things she shared with life and everyone around her. Beyond her dedication to studies and sports, Zaiyllah's talent also shone in the world of singing. She had a deep love for music, especially gospel songs, and often showcased her beautiful voice as a gospel artist in Wichita. However, among all her pursuits, one of Zaiyllah's most heartfelt passions was being the best dog mom to her beloved black mini poodle, Oliver. He was her only companion when she was away from friends and family. By 2023, at the age of 19, Zaiylah seemed to have everything figured out. She completed her first year at Wichita State University and was excited to start her second year, heading towards becoming a math teacher. She had also found love in 22-year-old Alexander Lewis, a member of the U.S. Air Force. Zaiyllah's family liked him, finding him smart and well-spoken. However, the most unexpected surprise came in early 2023 when Zaiylah discovered that she was expecting a baby. Zaiyllah's mother was the first to learn about her pregnancy. It was revealed to her when Zaiylah was approximately 6 weeks along. After a visit to the doctor, Zaiylah couldn't contain her excitement as she arrived at her mother's house, proudly displaying a bag filled with various items. She eagerly explained to her mom what the doctor had given her, revealing the contents with pride. At first, her mother saw blankets and thought they were for Zaiyllah's dog, Oliver. However, as her mother continued to inspect the items, she came across diapers. The family was taken aback by the news, considering Zaiyllah's young age. Despite the surprise, they were all eagerly looking forward to welcoming the new family member. As the year went on, Zaiylah had more positive news to share with her family. She enthusiastically spoke about her new car and her recent job as a manager at City Trends, a clothing store. However, her primary focus remained on her unborn baby, and she happily revealed that it would be a boy. The baby was expected to arrive in February 2024, and although the discussion about the baby's name arose in Zaiyllah's final conversation with her mother, she preferred to keep it a surprise. While a name had been selected, only Zaiylah and Lewis, the child's father, were aware of this secret. Sadly, Zaiyllah's loved ones would never get the chance to discover the chosen name. Shortly after 11:00 a.m. on Saturday, August 26, 2023, North Carolina authorities received a 911 call from the concerned mother of Alexander Lewis. To protect her privacy, her identity was kept confidential. She reported that Lewis had informed her he had fatally harmed his 16-week pregnant girlfriend, Zaiylah Bronson, in Wichita. Deeply worried about the situation, she reached out for help. As the Wichita Police Department learned about the incident from their counterparts in North Carolina, they received another call, this time from Alexander Lewis himself. He confessed to being involved in a physical altercation with his girlfriend, during which he strangled her. Shockingly, he also revealed that the incident had taken place at her residence, and she was now with him. These two alarming calls prompted Wichita police officers to rush to two different locations. Initially, they headed to Zaiyllah's apartment at 3945 East 17th Street North apartment. Despite searching the residence for Zaiylah, they found it unoccupied. After conducting a record search of Lewis's cell phone number, Officer Fields discovered that Lewis lived in apartment 101 at 7677 East 21st Street in Wichita. The officers repeatedly knocked on the door of apartment 101 until Lewis eventually answered. Following his arrest, the officers asked about Zaiyllah's whereabouts. Lewis responded, "I got scared. I was over at her place. I didn't know what to do. My keys are on the box in the living room, and she's in my car." Seeking clarification, the officer asked if he meant the trunk of his vehicle, to which Lewis confirmed. The officers retrieved Lewis's car keys from inside his apartment and opened the trunk of his 2009 black Carrio, bearing North Carolina license plates. Inside the trunk, they discovered Zaiyllah's lifeless body covered with a white blanket. Although they couldn't detect a pulse, the officers began administering chest compressions in a desperate attempt to save her life while waiting for the arrival of paramedics. Sadly, at approximately 12 p.m., Zaiylah was pronounced dead, and her body was transported to the medical examiner's office. In a grim discovery, officers also found an axe and a shovel on the floor of the front passenger seat. Further investigation led them to a black backpack and a crumpled piece of white notebook paper on the front passenger seat. This paper contained an apparent note written by Zaiylah, left unsigned and addressed to "Dear Family." Inside the backpack, officers discovered a roll of duct tape, several bottles of water, clothing, a handheld flashlight, a head-mounted flashlight, multiple towels, and trash bags. On the front passenger seat, a black hooded sweatshirt with white markings was found, along with a purse containing Zaiyllah's wallet, identification, and keys. The news of Zaiyllah's tragic fate was a devastating blow to her family. Her mother later recounted that on a typical Saturday, she had attended a women's gathering and gone on a short shopping trip. Her day seemed ordinary until she received a phone call from her husband inquiring about any contact with the police. Toronzo vividly described her emotional reaction, saying, "I immediately released everything I was holding, my purse and all my belongings, and just crumpled to the floor, realizing fully that her daughter has been taken away from her forever." But the questions of why and how lingered. However, the only person with the answers was Alexander Lewis. Within the confines of the Wichita Police Department station, detectives carried out a comprehensive interrogation of Alexander Lewis. After ensuring he was aware of his Miranda rights, they delved into the history of his relationship with Zaiylah. Lewis presented a different perspective from the seemingly idealized romance perceived by others. According to Lewis, their relationship was far from perfect. He asserted that during their time together, Zaiylah had been unfaithful and had interactions with other men on multiple occasions, resulting in difficulties in their relationship. Then, about 3.5 months before her tragic demise, Zaiylah learned that she was pregnant with their child. Despite the challenges in their relationship, she decided to carry their child to term. Lewis went on to share the details of what happened on August 25, 2023. On that day, he had called Zaiylah while she was at work. During the call, she got another call from an unknown guy. Lewis heard the conversation and asked her about it, which led to a big argument. Around 9:30 p.m. that same day, Zaiylah unexpectedly came to Lewis's apartment. The argument from earlier in the day started again, and eventually, Zaiylah abruptly ended their relationship and left his place after being there for about half an hour. After Zaiylah left, Lewis felt stressed about the situation. However, Zaiylah started texting him. In those messages, she talked about wanting to find another man who would be more attentive to her needs. However, Louis thought these messages were meant to upset him. In earlier arguments, Zaiylah had expressed frustration with Louis for not being more proactive, so this time, he decided to go to her apartment. Louis said he got to Zaiylah's apartment around 10:30 p.m., hoping to make up with her. Surveillance footage from Zaiyllah's apartment complex showed that she returned home alone at 10:14 p.m. on August 25th. Louis arrived shortly after at 10:32 p.m. The footage showed him opening his trunk and moving things around. He then stayed around the courtyard and nearby stairwell before approaching Zaiylah's apartment door. Louis said that when he rang the doorbell, he found Zaiylah talking on the phone with another guy, which made him feel very upset. Louis shared that he and Zaiylah were involved in a prolonged argument that went on throughout the night. Neither of them got any sleep, and he mentioned that Zaiylah pushed him to a breaking point, making him feel overwhelmed by her actions. Around 8:13 a.m. on the morning of August 26, 2023, Zaiylah briefly took her dog to the apartment courtyard, and Louis joined them. This outing was confirmed by surveillance footage and marked the last time Zaiylah was seen alive. Upon returning to the apartment, the verbal argument between Zaiylah and Louis escalated even further. They continued arguing while seated next to each other on the living room couch. Zaiylah was looking away from him, overwhelmed by frustration and wanting the argument to end. Feeling the surge of anger and still talking to her, Louis decided to take action. He admitted to grabbing her, describing the act as putting his left arm around her neck and supporting the top of her head with his right hand. He applied pressure to her neck. When asked about the duration of this hold, he said, "I don't know. All I felt was anger, and I was still talking to her, so I don't know how long." He remembered that during this encounter, Zaiylah attempted to resist by slapping his arm and was unable to speak until she stopped moving. While confessing to the act, Louis repeatedly emphasized that he never intended to take her life and never meant to harm her. In his story, Louis admitted that he felt panicked after the incident. When he realized that Zaiylah wasn't breathing and had no pulse, he got really worried. In a distressed state, he went to Zaiylah's bedroom, got a blanket, and used it to wrap her lifeless body. After that, he carried her, wrapped in the blanket, to his car and put her in the trunk. Security cameras captured this at 10:24 a.m., showing Louis carrying the bundled blanket with Zaiylah's feet hanging out while he drove back to his apartment. Feeling upset, Louis called his mother for advice. However, she told him to go home and contact the authorities. Following his mom's advice, Louis left Zaiylah's apartment and drove back to his own place. But before he got home, he went back to her apartment to get a beanie-style hat he had left there. Only after doing that did he finally return to his apartment and make the distressing call to 911. Louis also explained that there was an axe and shovel in the trunk of his car along with Zaiylah's body. He said he had bought these items a few months earlier and had been keeping them there for unrelated reasons. Even though Alexander Louis had admitted to killing his girlfriend and gave a detailed timeline, something didn't match up in his explanation for the killing. He said he didn't mean to harm Zaiylah, and that rage took over him. However, web searches on his phone told a different story. Detectives got a search warrant for Louis' black Samsung cell phone on August 28, 2023, and found disturbing web searches. On the evening of August 25, 2023, Louis conducted various web searches related to stun guns, lethal weapons, and weapons that can cause harm. Moreover, at 8:02 a.m. on August 26, 2023, just 10 minutes before Zaiylah was last seen on the apartment surveillance system, he searched for information on chokeholds. As the investigation progressed, additional web searches pointed to even more alarming searches. At 8:51 and 8:52 a.m., Louis conducted searches related to snapping necks, and after multiple searches regarding abortion, finally, at 10:57 a.m., web searches resumed. this time focused on the topic of murder, with the last search recorded at 11:06 a.m. These findings cast doubt on Lewis's initial claims and raised serious questions about his intentions. On that fateful morning, the detectives' investigation led them to a chilling theory. They believed that Lewis, fearing the responsibilities of impending fatherhood and the challenges it presented to their already unstable relationship, took a horrifying and tragic step to eliminate what he saw as a problem. Sadly, his selfish act didn't just end one life. It led to the destruction of three. Zaiyllah's promising life was tragically cut short, while Lewis now faces a lifetime behind bars, and their baby boy will never see the light of day. The detectives' meticulous exploration of the web searches adds a layer of complexity to the unfolding tragedy, revealing a potentially premeditated and sinister aspect to the events that transpired on that tragic day. Alexander Lewis currently faces severe capital murder charges and is being held at the Sedgwick County Jail on a bond amounting to $500,000. The weight of tragic incidents like this one inevitably leaves a profound impact on the affected families, particularly the Bronson family. Zaiylah Bronson's family now carries the heavy burden of unanswered questions and the unbearable pain that comes with losing their beloved daughter and grandchild. Toramzo Bronson, Zaiyllah's mother, is grappling with the haunting thought of whether she failed to recognize signs that something was wrong.
We were close, but like I say, honestly, not close enough because I don't know if what led to this, what was the sign.
Despite their closeness, she reflects on the reality that perhaps she wasn't close enough, as she struggles to understand what could have led to this heartbreaking event. Meanwhile, Zaiyllah's godmother, Dawn Wilson, herself a survivor of domestic violence, is left pondering why Zaiylah didn't have the opportunity to seek help before it was too late. In one of her interviews, Dawn expresses her disbelief, stating that everyone else made it out of similar situations, and seeing her baby girl not making it out raises questions about how the signs were missed.
Not everybody make it out, and to see my baby girl not make it out is just like, what? How did we miss the signs?
These unanswered questions serve as a heartbreaking reminder of the devastating toll that domestic violence takes on both the victim and their loved ones. In response to this tragedy, Dawn has taken it upon herself to initiate a GoFundMe campaign, aiming to help cover the funeral expenses. In doing so, she sheds light on the heartbreaking consequences of domestic violence, emphasizing the urgent need for awareness and support. In the aftermath of the tragic event, Zaiyllah's grieving mother shared heartfelt words about her daughter. She urged other parents to pay attention to their children and keep them close. Despite the immense grief that shrouds the Bronson family, they have chosen to plan a beautiful homecoming service to honor and celebrate Zaiyllah's vibrant and outgoing personality. Dawn reflects on the challenging contrast between planning a baby shower for someone so young and the solemn task of arranging a funeral. In her poignant expressions, she also articulates her belief that Zaiylah may have already forgiven her killer, underscoring the arduous path to healing for survivors of domestic violence. The story unfolds as a tragic tapestry of loss, grief, and the resilience of those left behind to navigate the complex aftermath of such a devastating event. As we ponder over these distressing events, it becomes important to reflect on the broader implications they carry. The act committed by Lewis forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that instances of domestic violence are not isolated incidents, but rather deeply embedded in the societal structure. This realization urges us to scrutinize the systems in place meant to protect individuals, especially women, and raises concerns about the effectiveness of our collective efforts in fostering a safe environment for all. In light of this tragic incident, the Wichita Police Department has taken important steps to provide resources and support for victims of domestic violence, urging them to seek help. This case has brought to the forefront the urgent and concerning issue of domestic violence in the city. Disturbingly, there has been a 60% increase in women seeking shelter from their abusers in the past year, as reported by the Wichita Family Crisis Center. These statistics shed light on a troubling trend in incidents of domestic violence in the region. However, the problem of domestic violence is not unique to Wichita alone. Research reveals that homicide is the leading cause of death for pregnant women in the United States. Shockingly, pregnant women in the U.S. are more than twice as likely to be murdered during pregnancy or shortly after childbirth than they are to die from the primary medical causes associated with childbirth. This risk is even higher for African American women, raising a critical question. How can we ensure the safety and well-being of women facing such dire situations? As we reflect on this case, one may wonder about the true reason behind Alexander Lewis committing this murder. Additionally, what measures should be taken to ensure the safety of those experiencing domestic abuse? Your insights and perspectives on this matter are invaluable in addressing this pressing issue. We strongly encourage those enduring such circumstances to reach out for assistance and support. If you are aware of someone else going through a similar situation, reporting it is crucial. Furthermore, if you have a case you'd like us to cover or any recommendations, please feel free to share them in the comments section below. All right guys, that wraps up our video for today. If you found this informative, please support us by giving us a thumbs up and hitting the subscribe button for more.